Hello, I'm Curtis.
Hi, I'm Signa.
And I have 2 teenagers.
And I've got 2 as well.
And our kids absolutely love their smartphones.
Yeah.
As do we. And so, all being somewhat addicted to these, we started thinking, how much is the risk of electromagnetic radiation or microwave radiation coming out of these? We all know that you're not supposed to hold it directly to your head. So
well, we're supposed to know this.
That's the first step. But how much is it a risk when it's just in your pocket or in your bra or in your hand for 8-10 hours a day, right?
Mama's concerned.
Rightly so. So it was a wasteland of information online. So I bought 2 meters, an analog and a digital one, and we started doing our own testing, and we found not only are these a concern, but there's some other things that are definitely concerning.
Yeah, like the new wireless power boxes. What are they called?
Smart meters.
Ours is directly across, literally within 12 inches of where my oldest daughter's head is at night when she sleeps. It's good to be awake. It's good to pay attention.
Here's what we found. Not long ago, we thought it was okay to advertise cigarettes in kids' cartoons. We thought it was okay to x-ray our feet at the shoe store. And now we think it's okay to put a microwave transmitter against our heads? We're basically all test subjects in a grand experiment. I think people are starting to wake up to this, but it's hard to know what the real story is. For example,
well, if you hold a phone directly to your head, you're basically microwaving the head because that's the same signal strength.
Microwave ovens and cell phones operate in the same frequency range, but they are not the same signal strength. At full power, microwave ovens output about 1,000 watts, and cell phones output about 2 watts. These internet videos that show popcorn being popped by cell phones are considered by many to be real, when actually they were created by an ad agency to sell Bluetooth headsets. Dr. Mercola claims that cell phone radiation is a mitochondrial poison.
Well, there's some new research that shows this microwave radiation, which includes cell phones, cell phone towers, portable phones, and your Wi-Fi router, that when you're exposed to this at high levels on a chronic basis, it is a mitochondrial poison. It will sabotage your mitochondria.
However, Dr. Mercola's solution is that we use selfie sticks to hold our phones, which doesn't really work for me. The mainstream media has been providing some decent coverage of this topic, but I was unable to find anything definitive.
There has been some concern for a while that radio frequency waves could affect cells in the brain, but there have been some recent studies that have been alarming, where you follow people for longer periods of time. And Diane, remember that if you're going to look at something very subtle like radio frequency waves affecting brain cells, you have to study them over a decade.
You might not realize it, but most cell phone manufacturers warn you not to hold your cell phone too close. This cell phone manual advises carrying the phone at least 1 inch away from your body. Today's smartphones have several antennas located inside. When you talk, text, or stream music or videos, your phone sends out non-ionizing radiation, similar to a low-powered microwave. Theoretically, that type of radiation does not cause cancer, and there are a bunch of cell phone studies that say just that. But other studies suggest there could be a connection between cell phones and cancer.
In your lab, you found cell phone radiation cause cancer.
That's correct. If there was a real hazard out there, but it could be another 15 years before we see it, think about the billions of people who are being exposed to cell phone RF on a regular basis. We can't undo that exposure.
Applying the follow the money rule, we find that who pays for a study often affects the outcome of that study. This infographic from Jeremy Johnson's TED Talk shows a 70% harmful effect from the non-industry funded studies and only a 32% harmful effect from the industry funded studies. This should be no surprise. For years, the tobacco industry had plenty of doctors singing their praises and countless studies proving that smoking was harmless. The World Health Organization issued a warning about cell phone radiation as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Carcinogenic, meaning may cause cancer. Don't keep cell phones next to your body, warns the California Health Department. Berkeley, California mandates that anyone selling cell phones must now post this warning sign stating the same concern.
We have known now for more than 10 years that men who keep phones in their pocket have lowered sperm count.
Young women sometimes wear their phones in their bra.
This is an MRI that was shared with us of a 21-year-old. These are tumors in her breast.
But how do you know that could be caused by a cell phone?
We don't know, but what we know is this. It's extraordinarily unusual for a young woman to have one breast cancer, to have 2, 3, or 4, and they all develop as separate tumors under the antenna of the phone. That's beyond coincidence.
This is why she argues phones should be tested the way we wear them. So what happens when they are?
So the tests are all done.
Tests are all finished.
And?
The number exceeded the limit. It went up significantly with each one of the phones.
That's right. The phones exceeded the safety limit when they were moved right against the body.
We're not about to give up our cell phones, but until we can prove they are safe or redesign phones to be safer, we need to be more informed and use them carefully. Wanting to learn more about my phone, I bought an analog and digital test meter and did my own tests. The digital meter was more accurate for microwave radiation, so I'll just show this meter for these tests. Here's the meter's display. The big numbers on the left show the level of radiation the phone is putting out in milliwatts per meter squared. This bar chart is a scrolling graphic showing the last 15 seconds history for the big numbers on the left. And these lights are the color-coded version for the big numbers on the left. Here we are, out and about, not connected to Wi-Fi, with your phone needing its nearest cell tower for the connection. We recorded 9 minutes of the phone being idle and sped it up to show you that there is no danger yet. Every once in a while, for a fraction of a second, the phone checks in with its local cell tower. Still, nothing to be scared of. It is outputting less than 1 milliwatt average. Please note the decimal point. Output of 18 milliwatts or less is generally accepted to be safe. But now you get a text message, and for the next 10 to 20 seconds, you get hit with the phone's high power radiation needed to fully connect with the local cell tower. The nearest cell tower during our testing was 1 mile away. If an image or video is in the text, then you get radiated even longer. Streaming video or audio is also high power radiation exposure. And of course, a phone call is high power radiation exposure. So how about some good news? When you are connected through a Wi-Fi network, your phone outputs less than 1% of the radiation as compared to using a cell tower. Only 7 milliwatts of output, because the phone is connected to a Wi-Fi router that is usually fairly close, as opposed to a cell tower that could be miles away. Streaming content and sending or receiving images, texts, and videos are no problem as long as they go through the Wi-Fi. However, even when connecting through Wi-Fi, a phone call will usually connect to a cell tower. There are ways to make calls over Wi-Fi. I recommend checking into that. How about a Bluetooth headset? Relatively safe, only about 4 milliwatts. But that is transmitted against your head, so perhaps a wired headset would be safer. So those were our findings, and here are some takeaway suggestions to be safer with your phone. Use Wi-Fi or airplane mode whenever possible. Use speakerphone or headset for phone calls, and carry the phone away from your body as much as possible. And a related topic that is worth mentioning is how our addiction to this new technology is changing the human experience and society as a whole. What we want for ourselves and our future generations are things to be mindful of as we charge full speed ahead into the future.
And now for something completely different.
Switching the meters between microwave and EMF, depending on the device, we tested everything in our home and found some concerns worth sharing. The analog meter was more accurate for many of these types of EMF emissions, so we'll include it now. Simply watch the scale at the top, and when it goes deeply into the red, that's a concern. Wi-Fi router. Most of us have one of these now, and as you can see, you don't want to be hanging out too close to it. I'd say at least 10 feet away. Microwave ovens. you don't want to stand next to one of these while it's on. Whether or not nuking your food does anything bad to the food is still up for debate. But when we use ours, we turn it on and run. Laptop computers. This was a surprise to me. And if you work on a laptop for long durations, I recommend putting it on a table and using a detachable keyboard. Main power. We expected to see strong emissions from the panel and power meter. However, we were surprised when we found that one of our beds in our house was on the other side of the wall from the power meter. When the bed was up against the wall, the pillow was in the red zone, but pulling the bed just 2 feet from the wall put it out of danger. You might want to check which wall in your home your power meter's on. Smart power meters. I've seen a fair amount of chatter on the web about smart meters. It seems that many power companies are switching out the old meters with these new meters that have the ability to send our power usage data wirelessly back to their office. Switching my test meters back to the microwave settings, I found that every few minutes it sends a small microwave signal. I don't believe that this is a concern, but I have read that some smart meters transmit constantly to the cell towers. I recommend watching Jeremy Johnson's TED Talk and doing your own research. And last but not least, the electric heater, not too surprising, and power motors. Perhaps don't have one right next to your bed. We didn't have a baby monitor for testing, but I recommend researching these thoroughly before using one. And we didn't have a cordless phone to test, but it looks like they may be a problem too. And if they put up a cell tower next door to you, I'd seriously consider moving. We are in uncharted territory. Never before have we been surrounded by so many electromagnetic fields. Some people are more sensitive than others to these fields, and we all get to decide how much of this we want to bring into our lives. There was plenty more we didn't cover in this video, including smart home technology and the new 5G cell phone towers that are being built. As a final note, let's ask the real expert. Hey Siri, are cell phones dangerous to humans?
The initial danger that cell phones present is by distracting their owners. The long-term risks require more study, so I recommend erring on the side of caution.
Thanks, Siri.
You're welcome. Thank you for being my lab rat.
If you found our video useful, please follow us online. Consider supporting our work and repost this video so that others can wake up.